Now that we've got the go forward cues, we need to do the stop cues. Unless your horse will go forward, you can't train a horse, because for him to just stand still, you really can't train him. His feet have to move. But until a horse knows how to stop, it's really dangerous to ride him. So the first things we need to put on a horse is go forward. The second thing is teach him how to stop. Now, the same way that we did with the go forward cue, we're going to use 3 or 4 different cues in order to teach him how to stop. Now, the way that I teach a stop, though, is I teach people that a stop is the same as a back. Because when I teach a horse to stop, I want him to be thinking about going backwards. And the reason I do that is because I've learned that when a horse thinks about going backwards, his hip gets up under him, his head can get down, he can get really soft, and he backs up easy. But if he's not thinking about going backwards when he's stopping, normally what happens is his back goes down, hollows out, his head goes up, his nose goes out, he begins to brace, and it makes really hard time to get him to stop. To teach your horse to stop, this is what I normally will do. My horse is moving forward. The first thing I simply do is simply set back just a little bit. If he doesn't listen to that, what I simply do is I set back, my feet go forward. So the next thing, if he doesn't stop then, I simply pick up, I dangle on the reins. If he doesn't do that then, I simply will pick up and I'll go 1, 2, 1, 2, the same way that I'd teach him to back, because if you're teaching your horse to back, this right here, this foot is controlled by this rein. This foot is controlled by this rein. So in order to teach him to stop, that's what I do, is pick up, 1, 2, 1, 2. If he doesn't stop then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up and I'm going to pull as hard as I have to, or pull as hard as it is required to get him to stop. One thing you don't want to do when you've got a horse that's going forward and he won't stop, don't panic, but also do not quit pulling back until he stops if he's trying to run away. I mean, if you've ever been on a runaway horse, one of the biggest things you're thinking about is hanging on. But the next thing you should be thinking about after hanging on is pulling back with all your might to get this horse to stop, whatever it takes. So I teach people when they ride to keep their hands here. And the reason I do that is because when you pull this way, you have enough power to put pressure on your horse to hopefully get him to stop. But if you're pulling out here, if you're pulling here, if you've got a lot of slack in this, you can't pull enough sometimes to get the horse to stop when you're beginning to teach him how to stop. So let me show you what this looks like. We're going to go forward. He goes forward. I'm going to lean back. He doesn't stop. I'm going to put my feet forward. He finally decided to stop. You know, because a horse that isn't stopping here is a horse that's a runaway horse. So when my horse doesn't stop for me at the walk, I think that he's a runaway horse, because I know that when he gets faster and faster, there's more emotion there. And the more emotion he has, the faster he goes, and the less he listens to me, and the less those cues work. So if my horse is not stopping for me at the walk, I know he's not going to stop at the trot. If he's not stopping at the trot, I know he's not going to stop at the canter. So let's do this again. We're going to go forward. He goes forward. We set back. He doesn't stop. He's running through. We push forward. He still doesn't stop. So the next thing is we pick up here. Number 3. Number 4 would be this. And number 5 would be everything we have just to get him to stop. Okay? Now, of course, Boo stops fairly well nowadays, but that's how we do our stop. So now, let's go to the next thing.